Now that we've built our model and customized how we want to use FluidFlow, we can get on with the real business of designing our systems. In this video, we will look at the powerful auto pipe sizing feature in FluidFlow. In our model, we have already defined the connectivity or layout of the system and specified a design flow of 50 cubic meters per hour at our inlet boundary. At this stage, we haven't yet implemented any measures to control the flow once it leaves the inlet boundary. Currently, flow distribution is governed by system resistance, and as expected, flow tends to take the easiest path. We can observe that the majority of the flow is delivered to the first outlet, with flow progressively dropping off as we move along the header. To address this imbalance, we need to implement measures to control the flow to each outlet, and the first step in this process is sizing the pipes accordingly. To do that, we need to change the model a little bit. Let's assume that each outlet requires the same flow. Let's start by selecting all our pressure boundaries, right-clicking and changing the component type. You can scroll through the list or use the search function to locate the known flow node. Select it, keep the component property values, and click OK. From the input editor, let's just confirm that our flow direction is out of the network and that the flow rate for each outlet is 10 cubic meters per hour. This step forces the model to distribute the required flow through each outlet, enabling us to size the pipes. However, in its current state, the model is over-constrained because we have specified flow rates throughout the system without defining a reference pressure. As a result, there are multiple solutions possible, and the model will not converge. Let's click Calculate and see what happens. You can see that we get a calculation error, and in the Messages tab, it says multiple solutions are possible. To resolve this, we need to change the inlet boundary to a known pressure node. Let's set the pressure value to 1.5 atmospheres. The exact value doesn't matter at this stage, it's simply to prevent negative pressures in the system. Before recalculating, let's display some results on the flow sheet. To do this, we need to multi-select the pipes in the header. In the input editor, set the properties on flow sheet from Hide to Show. For the properties, let's select the nominal size from the input and exact economic size, stagnation pressure, and velocity from the results. Now we are ready to calculate. When we hit Calculate, you can see immediately that we get a lot of errors. If we check the Messages tab, we can see that the system reports static pressure below fluid vapor pressure or negative. At this point, that's okay because we haven't sized any of the pipes yet. The key result to focus on here now is the exact economic size. FluidFlow calculates the most economic pipe size for each pipe element using a complex equation based on fluid densities, installed costs, pipe material costs, and other user-definable parameters. So now, we will go through each pipe and select a standard pipe size that closely matches the calculated economic size. For example, for the first pipe, I've selected 6 inches, since 5 inches is not a standard size. Once the adjustments are made, let's recalculate the model. Upon recalculation, you can see that the initial errors are gone, leaving only warning messages related to T's, which we don't need to address for now. We can see a fairly consistent pressure distribution and velocity profile throughout the system. Additionally, the geometry of the header now reflects what we would expect. The diameter reduces progressively along the line as flow is taken out at each offtake. So in this step, we have forced the required flow through each leg to size our pipes using known flow nodes. In the next video, we will look at using flow controllers and other components to balance the flow profile further. This will allow us to create a more representative and optimized system.